I'm Joe Netherworld, and this is The Dark Side. Tonight's episode is going to be on voodoo dolls. My collection of them, the use and practice of them in history and in my personal life. And they're basically a way of transmitting your psychic energy personally through a doll or a fetish, or in some witchcraft terms they use a poppet. It's a nicer way of saying voodoo doll, but I like voodoo dolls. They scare people, and this whole episode and all these episodes of The Dark Side are going to be about what people are really afraid of, even in the paranormal and occult community, what they're afraid of getting involved in. We've handled Ouija boards, we're doing voodoo dolls, and we're going to touch on zombies, the real make-your-own zombie featured in Haiti and other voodoo cultures. And we're going to move through things that haven't been handled very much. So get ready. It's going to be a fun, scary ride. Well, fun for me, maybe scary for you. But so here's our classic collection of voodoo dolls. These have been collected from my collection from all over the place. Given to me. I've made a few. They've been from old collections. You know, and like Ouija boards, voodoo dolls sort of end up with people who can appreciate them. You know, dark people attract dark things. So. This is just a classic manufactured voodoo doll. It's got your basic, puppet shape. It's female on one side, hence the drawn-on breasts, and male on the other. And it comes with, the pins and things that it's needed for. And the basic idea is that you gather things that belong to the person, wrap it around the voodoo doll, whether it be some hair, clothing, nail clippings, something that belonged to them. So now it makes them this becomes a puppet or a symbol or them. It literally becomes them. And then, the pins are placed in, and you're concentrating on the person and what you want to happen to them. Usually it's negative. No one does a voodoo doll for fun. Or, I want them to have a happy, great life and have it rain kittens on them. Maybe if they were buried alive in kittens. Anyway, so the pins are placed in the doll very nicely and, placed in there. And, sometimes you'll write a note and what you want to happen to them and place this in a hidden place. You don't want the person to find it. The best case scenario is when you have a voodoo doll, is you want to kind of hide it back in the person's house. That's the sneaky way of doing it, though it does put you at risk of being caught placing a curse on someone. So there's this, that's your basic, and then this is a New Orleans, kind of a tourist attraction kind of one, but nice nonetheless, and it serves its purpose as well. It's got little voodoo bebes and markers and medallions and souvenirs all over its dress. And that's more of a gift item, but still workable voodoo doll. And then here's an extra creepy one with horse hair and all kinds of them. This one actually kind of scares me. It's on the extra creepy side and effective. It's been used before. I use it for ritual purposes here. It's got some sticky, nasty pin. I don't know what the hell's on top of that, so I'm just going to put it back inside there. Put it back on the list. And then there's another, which is sort of like a play doll. This is I think it's from Haiti or St. Lucia. I think it's Haitian. I'm not quite sure. But it was a play doll, but it's a play voodoo doll. Like it's got her mojo bags and all these kinds of things on her tray, and it's for someone to actually play. And that's part of the culture, was that it was part of the culture. It's not a rarity, or it's not some hidden, unspoken thing. People use them to perform magic, and this is what they, even the kids played with them. So this is a nice, kind of slave doll, creepy old voodoo doll. She's fallen apart. As everything old will eventually turn back to the ground. The grave calls everything back. So, but she's a favorite piece. I kind of don't really use her for any reasons. She's just kind of here. But this is a nice cursed piece. It's a crucified toad. Now, he died of natural causes. He was a pet of mine. And when he died, I was just, he was my familiar in his living years. And then I strung him up and kind of made a mockery of the crucifixion, but also, as a powerful symbol. People see it and they have a bad reaction to even seeing it. But he sits here proudly on my voodoo altar. And though practitioners and people who actually practice voodoo would say this is not a voodoo altar, it's not to the gods and things, it's my collection of voodoo items. A lot of old cursed pieces, these giant, we refer to them as the Zulu heads, which is wrong. They're not Zulu heads. They're from Haiti. They've been thrown out 3 times by people I've known them, and I've kept pulling them out of their garbage and taking them back. People's parents have thrown them out after they found them in people's bedrooms, and they've been around since I was a kid. And when I was a kid, 1,005 years ago. We had my sister and some of her friends had this guy at school that was a typical high school bully, jock, quarterback, football jerk kind of thing. No offense to anyone who likes football out there, but they made a voodoo doll, and we officiated. Me and my friend, my friend's brother, and I officiated this ceremony around a pool table in the rumpus room basement, and we made a voodoo doll, and they took the leg and pinned the leg up behind him, and wrapped it up. We hid it in a friend's ceiling, and the next day at school, this kid showed up and he broke his leg and ended his football career for that year and probably for the rest of his life. And one could say, that's terrible, and how would you do that? Why'd you do that? It's like, you know, when someone's pushed it too far, sometimes the balance of the universe seeks a way of finding itself, and that's how it happened. So he ended up breaking his leg, and he knew. I mean, that's the thing about sometimes a properly used voodoo doll is that the person, they can't, blame you or say to you that they did it, you did it, but they know that it was done to them. It's something above and beyond. Maybe the incident was he fell down a flight of stairs when he shouldn't have, or who knows how it happened, but that's how it happened. I think back fondly of the moment where we're all sitting around this pool table with candles and incense and, in this rumpus room while the parents are upstairs clomping around, making drinks, and, we're downstairs working a voodoo ritual. And it worked, though. So I think the main reason they work is that if you have a strong psychic belief in yourself and what you can do, you project it into this inanimate object, which is right here, and then you have something tangible in your hand. You can see it in your hand, and you know that you put your thoughts like you want this to happen, you've made a definite decision. And as we go through these dark side videos in this series, we're not trying to find the spiritual context of these things. We're trying to find out through anecdotal stories what's actually worked and what's happened. So that's the basic premise here. We don't know, I don't know how they work, but they have worked. And there they remain here in a place of prominence in the House of Netherworld. And that's basically, all these things have given their energy and made this a more interesting place. And that's one aspect that I'll lead you off with is these are, well, they're dried out now and they're preserved, but they're, this is datura, seed pods, but they're also known as devil's apples, or in Haiti, devil's cucumbers. And these seed pods, when they're green, resemble a spiky cucumber type of thing. They're open now, and let me see if I can pop this thing open without poisoning myself. Yeah, there we go, open away from face. These are a datura seed pod. It's opened up, and they're common all around the world, but it's a psychotropic poison, unlike, similar to, but a little bit different than the pufferfish. This is what they fed zombies. When they made zombies, and they did make zombies in Haiti and in other countries like around that area that practiced voodoo, had some of the African traditions mixed in with the island traditions. They made zombies. This is what they fed them. They kept them stupefied, kept them believing they were zombies. Though they were living people, they had been drugged, brain damaged, buried alive, dug back up, rituals performed on them, and then they kept on a diet of a gruel of these hallucinogenic cucumbers. So that'll be for the upcoming episodes. I want to just tie that in. That ties into voodoo culture, and the black magic of voodoo and the dark side of voodoo is very prevalent. It's a balance. Both sides are there. And so next time we'll probably go through my curio cabinets next, but next time will be a little bit about voodoo. Until then, enjoy the dark side of things. I'm Joe Netherworld.